It's time for an Archie and Mehetabel evening. Number 7. Archie interviews a pharaoh. Boss, I went and interviewed the mummy of the Egyptian pharaoh at the Metropolitan Museum as you bade me to do. What ho, my regal leatherface, says I. Greetings, little scatter-footed scarab, says he. Kingly has been, says I. What was your ambition when you had any? Insignificant and journalistic insect, says the royal crackling. In my tender prime, I was too dignified to have anything as vulgar as ambition. The rah-rah boys in the SETI set were too haughty to be ambitious. We used to spend our time feeding the ibises and ordering pyramids sent home to try on. But if I had my life to live over again, I would give dignity the regal raz and hire myself out to work in a brewery. Old Tan and Tari, says I, detect in your speech the overtones of melancholy. Yes, I am sad, says the majestic mackerel. I am as sad as the song of the Sudanese jackal, who is waiting for the blood-red moon he cannot reach and rip. On what are you brooding with such wistful wishfulness? There in the silences, confide in me, my imperial pretzel, says I. I brood on beer, my scampering whiffle-snoot. On the beer, he says. My sympathies are with you, royal dryness, says I. My little pet, says he, you must be respectful in the presence of a mighty desolation. Little Archie, 40 centuries of thirst look down upon you, and oh by bis and oh by or, says the princely raisin, and by pish and by ptush and ptra, by the sacred book of Perembru, and all the gods that rule the upper cataract of the Nile, to the delta of the duodenum, I am dry. I am as dry as the next morning mouth of a dissipated desert, as dry as the hooves of camels of Timbuktu. Little fussy face, I am as dry as the heart of a sandstorm at high noon in hell. I have been lying here and there for 4,000 years with silicon in my esophagus and gravel in my gizzard, thinking of beer. This is a wonderful little picture. Divine drove, says I. Imperial fritter, continue to think that there is no law against that in this country. Old salt codfish, if you keep quiet about it. Not yet. What country is this? Asked the poor prune. My reverend juicelessness, this is a beerless country, says I. Well, said the royal desiccation, my political opponents back home always maintained that I would wind up in hell, and it seems that they had the right hope. And with those hopeless words, an unfortunate residuum gave a great cough of despair and turned to dust and debris right in front of my face. It being the only time I ever actually saw anybody put the cough into sarcophagus. Dear boss, as I scurry about, I hear of many great tragedies in our midst. Personally, I yearn for some dear friend to pass over to leave me a boot legacy. Yours for the second coming of Gambrinus, Archie. There's a wonderful picture. Right there, of him in the coffin. Number 8. A spider and a fly. I heard a spider and a fly arguing. Wait, said the fly, do not eat me. I serve great purpose in the world. You will have to show me, said the spider. I scurry around gutters and sewers and garbage cans the fly and gather up the germs of typhoid, influenza, and pneumonia on my feet and wings. Then I carry these germs into the households of men and give them diseases. All the people who have lived the right sort of life recover from these diseases, and the old soaks who have weakened their systems with liquor and iniquity succumb to my mission to help rid the world of these wicked persons. I am a vessel of righteousness, scattering seeds of justice and serving the noblest uses. It is true, said the spider, that you are more useful in a plodding material sort of way than I am, but I do not serve the utilitarian deities. I serve the gods of beauty. Look at my gossamer webs as I weave and float in the sun, like filaments of song, if you get what I mean. I do not work at anything. I play all the time. I am busy with stuff of enchantment and the materials of fairyland. My works transcend utility. I am the artist, a creator, a demigod. It is ridiculous to suppose that I should be denied the food I need in order to continue to create beauty. I tell you plainly, Mr. Fly, it is all damned nonsense for that food to rear up on its hind legs and say that it should not be eaten. You have convinced me, said the Fly. Say no more, and shutting all his eyes, he prepared himself for dinner. And yet he said I could have made out a case for myself, too, if I had a better line of silk. Of course you could have, said the Spider, clutching a sirloin from the inn by the end. Would have been just the same as if neither of us had spoken at all. Boss, I'm afraid that's what the Spider said is true, and it gives me to think furiously upon the futility of literature. And one more. Number 9. Freddy the Rat perishes. Listen to me. There have been some doings here since last I wrote. There has been a battle behind the rusty typewriter cover in the corner. You remember Freddy the Rat? Well, Freddy is no more, but he died the other day. He died game the other day. A stranger with a lot of legs came into our little circle. A tough-looking kid. He was with a bad eye. Who are you, said 1,000 Legs. If I bite you once, said the stranger. If I bite you once, said the stranger, you won't ask again. He little poison tongue, said. Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm going to restart the little paragraph. Who are you, said 1,000 Legs. If I bite you once, said the stranger, you won't ask again. He little poison tongue, said. The 1,000 Legs who gave you hydrophobia, I got it by biting myself, said the stranger. I'm bad. Keep away from me. Where I step, a weed dies. If I was to walk on your forehead, it would raise measles, and if you raise me any lip, I'll do it. They mixed it then, and 1,000 Legs succumbed. Well, we found out this fellow was a tarantula. He had come up from the South American, a bunch of bananas. For days he bossed us alive. It was not worth living. He would stand in the middle of the floor and taunt us. Ha! He would say, where I'd step a weed dies, do you want any of my game? I was raised on red pepper and blood. I am so hot if you scratch me, I will light up like a match. You better dodge me when I'm feeling mean, and I don't feel any other way. I was nursed on Tabasco bottle, and if I was to slap your wrist in kindness, you would boil over like a job, and heaven help you if you get angry. Give me room, I feel a wicked spell coming on. Last night he made a break at Freddy the Rat. Keep your distance, little one, said Freddy. I'm not feeling well. Somebody poisoned some cheese for me, and I'm full of death as a drugstore. I feel like I'm going to die anyhow. Come on, little torpedo. Come on, don't stop to visit and search. Then they went at it, and both are no more. Please throw a little later edition on the floor. I want to keep up with China. We dropped Freddy off the fire escape in the alley with military honors. Just like this. Okay. I love you, Chris. Sleep well, keep calm, find alarm and carry on. I thought that was really vigorous. I love you dearly, Christy. Good night.